Okay, I'm here with Guillaume, and we are looking at God Factory Wingmen, which is a 4v4 multiplayer-only space shooter. Tell us a bit about the game and the decision to create a 4v4 only game.
All right. So the first thing is, it takes a lot of development just to build a story, right? So what you usually see is either the multiplayer is botched or the single player is botched, and we wanted to do both, and we wanted to focus on each one, and give them all the love it deserves, rather than just try and rush one of the two products. And we thought we'd rather start with the multiplayer game to build a community that would be more receptive once we have like a narrative base for a single player experience to make. So we thought let's blend in the more modern appeal of esport with the old school gameplay of space simulators.
That's quite similar to what Respawn have just done with Titanfall. They've completely focused on the multiplayer. Is there some kind of inspiration to you? Not maybe the gameplay and the game style, but that real focus on multiplayer.
I would say it came with the resurgence of esport as a whole. You know, League of Legends and Chivalry and all these mods that became full-fledged game experience. So that's what we were looking at first, and Awesome Nuts as well was one of the titles that we look, and Dungeon Defender. So there are so many examples, and we thought we want to do it that way. We want to make sure we have something that is fully made in that direction.
Okay, one of the games that you just mentioned was League of Legends. Now I know there's a couple of similarities between what you've got here and League of Legends, especially with the base that you've got to shoot down at the end. Tell us a bit about that.
All right, so I think the structure of League of Legends is ideal for anything that builds up a community. First, you have a lot of things to discover and understand, and that means you have a lot of sharing of knowledge between the players. So, of course, we kind of took the same elements that went to that. It's a lot of different abilities, some complexity as to how to combine things together, and all elements of that kind. There was also the idea that if it's objective based, it's not just about mindlessly killing everything that's close, and so the objective is to destroy a base. In League of Legends, you have to control lanes and to take down towers, rather than having to do the same thing as in League of Legends or any other Dota clone. You're gonna have to take down, say, the radar or the ammunition depot or the communication tower, and they all are very resilient, and whenever you take one down, it adds a negative effect on the opposing team. So, in League of Legends, sometimes a game drags on and on and on when you know perfectly well you're not going to win. Due to the snowballing effect of having multiple objectives that all add a different negative effect, when you start losing, you lose good, and it's done in a few minutes. Something else that happens in League of Legends and other game of that sort that doesn't happen with us is that you know how long a match is going to take. In League of Legends, a match could be 12 minutes, could be 50. In our game, we have the carrier ship helping the player to take down the enemy's base, and you're just adding to the attrition on the target to make it destroy, to make sure it's destroyed faster. And that means a match can't last more than 25 minutes.
Okay, as I'm sure we'll cut to in a moment with me bobbing my head around, you're using Oculus Rift.
Right.
How's that development process been, and what does that bring to the game for people who have access to that technology?
Right. So the Oculus Rift is definitely not necessary to play, but it adds first the immersion. Of course, any experience in cockpit is meant to be played with Oculus now, but it also adds to the full realization of scope. When you are in space, things can be huge, right? And when you are up close, in real life with the Oculus, you just spin your head around and you can judge the distance between things, and that helps really comprehend where you are. Spatial awareness is very useful in our game, so I think that once they are used to it, people playing the Oculus might even have an in-game advantage, not an important one, just enough to make sure that if you were to watch a tournament, I'm sure we'd see the majority of players with their Oculus and looking all around. Can't wait to see that happen.
Okay, you've talked about community, you just mentioned tournaments, and you've mentioned esports. Obviously, building up a community for the game is going to be really important to its long-term success. How are you building up that community?
All right, so the first things we tried was to make Kickstarters. Sadly, we failed both of our attempts to get the funds, but we did get some very hardcore fans out of this experience. Also, our partnership with Namco Bandai was actually to break what we call the ND multiplayer curse, right? When they make a great game, but there's no community, so the matches, the lobbies are empty, and nothing's happening. Our partnership with Namco allows us to benefit from their very wide reach in many different groups to get players. We're also going to see, like with companies like Multiplay and other companies that stage tournaments and LAN parties, and see if they can help us reach out to as many people as possible. We want to also get in close connections with streamers and YouTubers, and see if that can help spread the awareness of the game and have them sharing different strategies.
On an individual level, customization is quite important for players to express themselves, and I understand you've got quite a lot of different options for players in that respect.
Right. We got about 1,000 different parts to choose from, and they all change both your appearance and the gameplay of the ship. So it's not just about cosmetic changes like you can see in many games, or minor things. It's really like, will you be able to turn fast? Will you be able to go fast? Will you be able to shoot your target from up close? Or will you have like this dead zone where you just can't fire and have to always manipulate your field of view and your distance from your targets? What abilities will you use? Like, will you teleport behind an enemy, or will you use a teleporting ability that brings you right to your dock so that you can move? You can take more risk. It's not just about abilities. It's also about like what we call traits, having like special conditions that trigger boosts to your ship. So let's say I have a response trait that makes it so that when I'm attacked, over time I'm gonna like eventually trigger an ability that increase my resilience. So all of these different things really set in place very unique roles that player can have. And since the players are all able to share their ships together, you can explore many different gameplay in that fashion.
Okay, to wrap up then, where are you in terms of development, and what's the roadmap ahead?
All right, so we intend to start the closed beta by April 22. And after that, we're going to see how much work is left before the community judge that the game is ready for launch. We think we should be able to release it before the end of June, but I'm not making any promise because we want to do it right straight from the start. There's not going to be any early access kind of thing. We want to have like a full-fledged product ready as soon as we can. Now that we have the backing of Namco Bandai, that's possible, which was not the case a few months ago. Aside from that, I think that if we get the right reaction from the start, it's even possible to release it in May, but no promise.
Okay, and platforms?
Gonna be PC first, then Mac and Linux, then PlayStation 4 probably, and we're gonna see for Wii U and Xbox One. One thing for sure, our objective is to make cross-platform multiplayer possible. So having people on the PlayStation playing against people on PC, and mix up to have as large a community as possible.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.